Okay, for the third time, YouTube has crashed. Don't know why. Don't know why YouTube crashed. But let me go ahead and address this real quick. For the brother that was talking in noise, saying that I'm just talking about them because they good. What's gonna happen when they bad? First and foremost, I've been a Saints fan since 1991. Okay, I've been a Saints fan since 1991. So I was born in 1986. So that tells you how long I've been rolling with the Saints. I've been rolling with the Saints when they weren't that good. I've been rolling with the Saints when people were putting swagman bags on their head. Okay? So I was at the Saints game when they won their first playoff game. I've been a Saints fan when they went to the NFC Championship back in 2006. So to think that I'm just going to stop making videos just so if it just so happens that the Saints might not end up being that good, you're crazy. Okay, I'm going to continue to be the host of the State of the Saints podcast because I'm passionate about the Saints. I want to see the Saints win, yes, but if they lose, I'm still going to talk about it, regardless. So, I mean, for somebody to think that I'm just going to sit up here and just not address the Saints, not talk about them anymore, I mean, that's kind of what Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans do. It's kind of what they do. Like they go in hiding, they go underground. Then all of a sudden, it seems like some sun coming through the spot. Now all of a sudden they want to come out of the ground. They want to come out of the trees. They want to come out of the ocean. All I'm saying is this, man. Y'all boys looking real fake right now. And we all know that Tampa is a retirement community anyway for the most part. Most people that go to Tampa are people that retire, okay? So we know that the fan base isn't that strong. And we know that your owners had to do a lot of things in order for your fan base just to even show up to games, okay? I know about your history. I know about the fact that the lack of representation or the lack of interest in your team, so they had to make discount deals on tickets and all those other different things. So the way I look at it, don't come to me and talk about where my allegiance at and what I'm going to do, because in reality, I'm still going to be a Saints fan. And like I said, I mean, it's all it's all love at the end of the day. Like I said, I was talking about that with the Carolina Panthers team. I was talking about that with the Carolina Panthers. Somebody mentioned the Carolina Panthers podcast, my brother, and I said, man, you're going to talk about them. I know you're going to talk about the Saints. I'm not expecting people from other teams to come to Saints podcasts and Saints videos and be going like this. Like you have pride and love for your team too. But at the end of the day, man, I love the Saints. I don't care what their record is. I'm still going to do shows, okay? I'm still going to talk about them. Haven't heard of a Bucks fan in a decade or more. Thank you for saying that in regards to the Saints. I've been a Saints fan since Archie Manning and Bobby Abel. Yeah, man. I mean, my love for the Saints started with my grandmother, man. My grandmother been a Saints fan since the expansion in 1967. So she hasn't missed a Saints game, and she's a bigger Saints fan than me. So, man, my grandfather is a minister. For those that don't know, we used to go to church every Sunday, every Tuesday, every Saturday for choir rehearsal, Sunday school in the morning on Sundays. And I'm talking about as soon as church was over, church used to end like around 1 o'clock. Now, you know that the Saints game usually started at 12 in New Orleans. My grandmother used to get in a van and used to dip out. She used to dip out on my grandfather and like leave my grandfather to have to get a ride from somebody else. That's how much she wanted, just so she can check out the second half of the Saints game. Now, she probably looking at this video because she watches all my videos and probably got her eyes covered and stuff like that because she's like, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe my grandson said that. Yeah, grandma, I'm calling you out. I love you, but that's what happened. But, I mean, that's where my love comes from, man. And that's where, my love for radio and broadcasting come from, listening to Jim Henderson, listening to Buddy D, Frank Davis when he used to do his 10-hour slots out there on Saturdays in WWL. So, and it's no secret, man. My dream is to work for the New Orleans Saints network. You know, I would like to do what Christian Garrett is doing. I like to do what Bobby Hebert is doing. I think I have just as much talent as those guys. So that's my goal, man. You know, is to be working for the New Orleans Saints, doing radio for the Saints, and being honest, man. Being honest about the team. And I honestly feel like I can do that. I'm gonna keep on doing this. What you think about the signing of Winston? EJ, I think it was a good idea. I think that it was a great idea for them to sign Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston needs an opportunity to sit down and kind of figure out his career. And the good thing about Jameis Winston is he still has time on his side. Okay, he's 26 years old. He's young. And he still can, write the narrative of his career. I mean, it can be the tale of two quarterbacks. It can be a struggling young quarterback at the beginning. Towards the end of his career, it can be an all-time great. It's really up to him. So I think it all starts with him humbling himself, which he seems like he's done by signing a $1.1 million base contract with the Saints. So let's see where it goes from there. But I like it. I think he needs it. I think if Sean Payton takes Winston serious and not just trying to get info from him, y'all might still be a problem after Breeze. I don't think that he's trying to use it for info. Real talk, Perez. I don't think that's how it's working, man. I feel like he really wants to help Jameis Winston. I really do. We see that Sean Payton, he likes to work with quarterbacks, in my opinion, to show his genius, not to prove anything for them, okay, not to make them better, but for his own ego. I feel like he is going to make him, and I'm talking Jameis Winston, a better quarterback because he wants to feed his own ego. And I'm interested. I'm very interested. I'm interested to see what he's going to do. And I think that he can resurrect his career. I think the way that Bruce Arians had him playing versus how he is going to play with the New Orleans Saints, I think is going to be helpful to him. Thank you, bro, for clarifying who we are in a Saints Nation, man. Of course. I mean, look, you have some Saints fans. I mean, there are different type of Saints fans. There are Saints fans that don't understand football. The ones that I really don't, I don't want to say I don't care for, but they kind of irk my nerves because, they expect the Saints to score on every play. You got Saints fans that are very passionate, like myself, and I know a lot of you are. You got casual Saints fans who are just Saints fans because they winning. You got Drew Brees fans because, anything you say about Drew Brees will be held against you in a court of public opinion. And you have, and you have like those up and down Saints fans who are only going to come around during the playoffs, and probably Saints fans back in the day, but, probably ain't been paying attention to them. Now everybody talking about them, now they back, Those are the type of Saints fans. But all in all, the majority of them are extremely patient, and extremely passionate about the team. Like they love the team. They're willing to go to war for the team, and they will fight you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't about to fight nobody over no Saints, but I know some people that will. But what about Hill? Look, it's a competition at the end of the day. It's a competition, like you can't, thing about it is you want the most responsible kid to have the keys to the car, right? Let's just say if you have a 16 and a 17-year-old, right? And there's one car, all right? There's one car. Who are you going to give the keys to? Are you going to give the keys to the teenager that's reckless, the one that, that barely listens, or are you going to listen to the one that's responsible, the one that does what you want him or her to do? You're going to give it to the one that's responsible. And I feel like it's the same way with the Saints, okay? Now, You can have Taysom Hill. You can have Jameis Winston. But you want to give it to the person that is most deserving, number one. And you want to give it to the person that is going to bring your franchise forward. Look, longevity has absolutely nothing to do with this. This is not a seniority thing, okay? This is not your job, okay? 9 times out of 10, if you've been on your job for 9 years versus another guy that's probably been on the job for 3 years, most likely the boss is going to give you first dibs on some of the opportunities. But it doesn't work like that in the NFL. It's about the guy that can get the job done. So if Taysom Hill can go out there and get the job done, he can get the ball where it needs to be, he can get it to the wide receivers and the running backs on time, and he can make good decisions, then there's nothing that we need to talk about. But in the words of Lee Corso, not so fast. I mean, you got to make sure that you're proving it. You got to make sure that you're earning it. You can't just say, oh, Drew is going, now it's Taysom's turn. No, make him earn it. If Jameis Winston beats out Taysom Hill, then by all means, the Saints need to do the right thing and make Jameis Winston the starting quarterback. And apologize to Taysom, but make him realize that, hey, man, it's just not working out. That's what you got to do. I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with the way that you feel about the guy. It's about putting your team first. Let's see, who that nation, ride or die. Been through the mud with the Saints, good and bad. I'm a Saints fan who wears a Saints jersey to a Houston Texan game. Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's love right there. And shots, that's love right there, man. You know, people love the Saints, you know, and people love their teams, man. Like look, I don't try to take nobody's love for their team away from them. Okay, I don't. You know, I understand that. I understand that. But I love the Saints, and you know, when people come there talking bad about the Saints, I'm gonna have to, you know, I make sure that I give people things that I've researched back, because not only am I a Saints fan, but I'm a student of the game. Like, I can tell you about NFL. You know, like I love it. Like, I watch documentaries. I look at Pro Football Focus. I don't just look at it for the Saints players. You know, I look at it for other players as well. You know, I can talk to anybody about a team. You know, like I can tell you some of the biggest storylines because I have a passion for sports. You know, but I mean, I understand why people want to go to war for their team, because I go to war for mine. Yeah, bro, Delvin Breaux spoke the truth, and I agree with everything he said. Leslie Newsom says, what's up with Delvin Breaux? I see a couple people coming in. We had a couple YouTube crashes. It crashed like 3 times. This is actually, no, it crashed twice. This is the 3rd time me doing it. So right here, I got like some notes. I'll read them again for some people that just joined us. Delvin Breaux was on a podcast called Straight Up Saints Podcast, and y'all can check that out, man. Good, solid brother. Good interview. If you have an iPhone, you can go to the Apple podcast store. You can search Straight Up Saints, and you can check out the full interview. But I got a few little snippets right here that I wrote down, some of the things that he said. This comes from Delvin Breaux from the Straight Up Saints podcast. He says, it was a tough time for me and my family during the time when he was injured. Now, some of you probably know Delvin Breaux, 2017, was supposed to be out for 6 weeks. He ended up being out a little bit longer because he had a leg injury, which was misdiagnosed. The orthopedic surgeon of the New Orleans Saints said he had a contusion. Turns out that Delvin Breaux went to get a second opinion. He had a broken fibula. Because of that, the New Orleans Saints fired the orthopedic surgeon, and Delvin Breaux felt like it was sour grapes between him and Sean Payton. So this is what he said, quote, it was a tough time for me and my family when I was misdiagnosed. Sean Payton and me were not on good terms. Sean Payton treated me with no respect. He says, quote, when I'm telling you this, man, something is wrong with my leg. And he's like, you are going to practice. The doctor says it was this and it was that. And it comes to a point in time, you want to address this situation in private. He says that he wants to tell Sean Payton, do you want to address this in private, or you want to keep on humiliating me in front of my teammates. So it seems like Sean Payton was really questioning Delvin Breaux' injury during this time, because Delvin Breaux felt like his leg was broke. The doctors were saying it was a contusion, but it turns out that Delvin Breaux wasn't lying. It was the doctor's fault. And he continued. He said he felt less than a man walking through the facilities because I didn't want to see him. We had practice in Metairie, and I did not want to leave my room sometimes because I did not want to see Coach Payton, because I already knew the situation we were in. He was always going to tell me something. The way that he looked at me, he always looked disgusted. So once again, that is a little bit of the Straight Up Saints podcast. You can hear it in its entirety. Go to the podcast link on your iPhones. You can look it up, Straight Up Saints podcast, or there's some links going around online. You'll be able to check it out also, man. Good interview. But it just seems to me Delvin Breaux was just really upset, with Sean Payton. I feel like Sean Payton owed that man an apology. That's just the truth. You were around this thing embarrassing him in front of his teammates, saying that you can play when the guy really couldn't. It sucks. So he owes that man. He owes that man an apology. And if you don't give that man an apology, Sean Payton is a a-hole, which we already know he is, but he's an even bigger a-hole. Let's see. Good. Can't wait for you to break down when we sweep y'all this year. Yeah. If y'all do sweep us, I might break down. Yeah, we know that I can go on my fair share of a rant. We know that, but I promise you, man, if the Buccaneers end up beating the Saints by a field goal or something like that, or it's close, or they going back and forth, man, I won't have any ill feelings towards that. Appreciate that, TJ, and I believe everything he said. I believe it too. He ain't got no reason to lie. I mean, what does he gain from this? He don't gain anything from it, Leslie. So I believe everything that he's saying. I really do. But I encourage you all to check out parts 1 and 2 of this. The phone crashed a couple times. YouTube crashed. I kept on getting notifications, so I apologize for that. You can check out parts 1 and 2. I'm answering questions from the Who Dat Nation. I'm also talking a little bit more about the Delvin Breaux situation in part 1. So thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Really appreciate the love and the support that you all are showing. I encourage you all to check out tonight's video, where we're going to be breaking down the Saints schedule and also the NFC South. So Real Talk Perez, it's all love, my brother. If you want to come back and hear what I got to say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their schedule, you can come on back and, maybe we can, get your perspective. You can comment or something like that. Feel free. And, man, like I said, it's all love, man. I got respect for everybody. I expect for you all to go hard for your team. I expect for you to go hard, and man, good luck to you all. It's going to be a very fun and interesting division, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna answer one more question before I get up out of here, and all I gotta say is who that and all that stuff. My boy Jamarcus up in the building, so I'm gonna respond to him. How do you rank our linebacker room? I think our linebacker room is pretty good. I think that you have a mixture of young players and veterans, guys that can learn from one another, and guys that are hungry and passionate about the game, okay? I can't put a grade on it because some of these guys are young and I got to see them play. But I feel like with the combination of Demario Davis, a healthy Kiko Alonso, a healthy Alex Anzalone, you have Zach Bond, and you have Caden Ellis. I think the Saints have a pretty decent linebacker core, man. And you got to throw Craig Robinson in that thing too, man. I like his passion for the game. So I'm not going to give it a grade. But I think they can match up against some of the other linebackers in the league. I think they got a chance to be one of the best in the South. But thank you all very much for tuning into the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, my name is TJ Jones, and all I got to say is, who dat? You have a great day.